The three words that terrify me most are off the grid. So it's a testament to our friendship that I visit my pal Joyce, yeah, same name, in her off the grid cabin in the Catskills every summer. This cabin, which she built with her husband Gary, has no phone line, no electric line, and the power comes from a gas-powered generator. You only get cell phone service if you pray really hard and God hears you. Joyce's home is also an actual log cabin. Do you have any idea how much dust builds up in the cracks of a log cabin? If you have a shred of allergy, this cabin closes up your throat when you're halfway up Joyce's steep, rutted road. On the other hand, a lot of cars can't make it up the road. Shove Over, I Went Back on the Grid by Joyce Wadler. Joyce has a carefree, humorous New York Times column called I Was Misinformed. I think we can all be a little like Joyce and find the humor in the situations in our lives. Still, it had been a while since I had last seen Joyce, and it's nice to get away from the bright lights and urban chaos every now and then. And there was another inducement, a pristine 1972 Mustang Fastback. It too had been off the grid in a sense, languishing for decades in her garage, and now because of an automotive emergency had just been put back on the road. I get into my own car, a cosseted little Miata, and head up to the Catskills. My car would ideally only be driven on dry clean surfaces, but it's okay. And I meet Joyce in the hamlet of Downsville. The red Mustang is in perfect condition. The chrome is blinding. She kicks over the engine and dishes fall off the shelves in the village of Fleischmann's, 30 miles away. This is one powerful beast. I do feel slightly concerned when we stop at a gas station and she fills 3 containers up with fuel for her cabin generator and puts them in the trunk. I make a mental note not to tailgate her. We head up the mountain to the cabin. Joyce has also just had her road repaved, apparently by a historic preservationist because the ruts remain intact. And it was also topped with gravel. Still, it's a beautiful property on top of a mountain overlooking a reservoir, and we have a nice time sitting out on the deck, feeding the mosquitoes. Our one concern, though, as the evening approaches and we decide to have dinner in town 8 miles away, is whose car to take. The interior lights on the Mustang don't work, Joyce tells me. I'm really eager to check this car out. I have an inspired idea. I'll hold my phone flashlight while she drives, I tell Joyce. It's dark when we leave the restaurant. Joyce starts the Mustang and a few squirrels drop from the trees, bleeding from their ears. And we head off into the country night as I shine my phone flashlight. The high beams as we turn onto the narrow country road are, if not best, adequate until after a mile, they go dead. As you forget, as a city person, how dark night in the country is. Even with the moon, somehow it's supposed to be up there. It doesn't help. I wave my phone flashlight out of the window, but our situation is terrifying. Is my phone flashlight strong enough to warn a logging truck tearing down the mountain? Calm down. It's night. There won't be any logging trucks. There'll be drunken drivers and pickups. Joyce hits the switch and the low beams come on. They're fine if you don't care what side of the road you're on. She tries the high beams again. They're on for 2 seconds and then they're conked out. Okay, time to call AAA. Except that here on the off-the-grid mountain, there's no cell phone service. No need to panic. It's probably a simple electrical short. And who can't fix that in the dark? And when the drunken driver in the pickup slams into our blacked out vintage Hulk and we go over the edge, we will sail into the reservoir like Thelma and Louise, Joyce and Joyce. No, that's silly. We're on top of a mountain. We won't sail out into the reservoir. We'll sail out into the trees. We crawl up the road at 10 miles per hour. It's a relief when we get close to Joyce's road, but not an enormous one because it's a blind turn. And of course the road is gravel. Joyce makes a turn and then guns it. We blast off. As I tell student drivers, never accelerate onto a gravel road because you will always skid out. On the other hand, losing power and sliding backward in a blacked out car onto a road is also not good. The next day, I returned to the city and climbed back onto the grid. Oh, bright lights and urban chaos. It is good to be back.